Hello, everyone. It's episode 73 of the Fitness Business Growth Podcast. I'm here with three-time guest, first ever three-time guest, Brooke Triplett, my friend, mentor, sales coach, legend. How are you today?
I am amazing, Jayme. So good to be back chatting with you. Lots changed since the last time we spoke.
I know. We spoke last December. And since then, you've gone on to found this new thing called She Sells with Brooke.
Yes.
So before we get into what's happened, I want to re-educate people on who you are. So what has Brooke Triplett done in the last 3 to 5 years of her life, and why have you launched She Sells?
So Brooke has entered the world of remote sales and left my full-time teaching job. So that was a huge transition for me. I also have picked up my life, moved to Bali. I work remotely, and it's through my own experience of sales and working on male-dominated teams that I was like, why aren't there more women doing this? Like, why are there
I wasn't very dominating. I was pretty nice.
Yeah, no, just kidding. You were nice. I just mean, like, even when I was learning sales, I could only learn from men, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But I was like, why aren't there more women in the space? And hence birthed She Sells, which is a beautiful place for women to come and learn how to sell and enter the online, remote world of sales, and eventually leave their 9 to 5.
Well, stereotypes exist for a reason, and I've never heard of a sleazy female sales rep, just a sleazy used car male sales rep. So it's definitely a male-dominated industry. Why do you think that is?
I think just the stigma that's attached to sales. We hear language like boiler rooms, and it's like the language that is associated with sales in general. Like, we've seen Wolf of Wall Street. We see people celebrating taking money from people. There's just become this really negative stigma that's attached to the word sales and the actual industry in a whole. So I think that's why, but it's obviously also like one of the highest paid industries in the world. So, yeah.
All of the content that I make, all the core recordings I release is I am trying to, I guess, show people that stigma doesn't exist. All my core recordings, does this sound like a sales call? Does this person feel like they're being sold? It's a fucking conversation. And it's not sell me this pen. You buy the pen and I'm out the boiler room talking with my buddies about how I just fucked you over. That's what people think sales is.
Yeah. I've had to undo so many misconceptions around sales. Objection handling is a big one because everyone just thinks that it's pressure and being bullied and manipulated. So there's lots of background work that goes into the understanding of, what objection handling is, why we take people through the process of understanding, a different perspective. So yeah, it's really, it is just a conversation, it's connecting someone's problems and pains to solutions. That's it.
So you can't do a teaching degree, quit teaching, and become Australia's best fitness closer overnight. I want the origin story of when you sucked and when you almost got fired, because the come up is better than the end of the story. So tell me what happened.
So I was sitting in my backyard with my son, and I remember it was such a nice day, and I was just like enjoying the sun. And then one of my very good friends now was ringing me. And I hadn't spoken to him in a long time. We used to live together in Melbourne, and then we sort of, had a bit of a break in our friendship, but we didn't really talk. So when I saw him ringing me, I was like, what is this? And I was this close, Jayme, to not answering the phone. Like, I was like, what is going on here? But for some reason, the universe was like, answer. So I answered, and he was like, Brooke, I have the most amazing opportunity. You need to do it. Please just talk to AP. Like, I just need you to do it. And I was like, this sounds like a scam already.
Where was the hesitancy?
I think just, again, my own naivety and my own belief system. I didn't think that was possible. He was like, I'm earning 20K a month. I'm earning 30K a month. I'm only doing these many hours. I was like, bullshit. No way.
I've heard it all before, right?
Yeah. I've done multi-level marketing. I know what's possible. What is this? But obviously there was still a fire in me somewhere that was like, there's got to be more. There's got to be something out there that I can do to make money and spend time with my son. So that was sort of, poking its head through, and I was like, well, I'm just going to have a conversation. There's no harm that can be had from just talking and seeing. So I committed to having the conversation. And AP was showing me all of these, like all of the closers, what they were earning. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
Like,
the spreadsheets are so in depth it can't be fake.
yeah, I was like, so hang on, this is you're selling to women, and you have, I think at the time that I joined, there was like one female closer, and all of these guys were just earning 10, 15, 20K a month. And I'm like, what the hell? I'm going to dominate at this. Like, put me in. So
So
much so, I think I
when you
talked
made that
myself.
decision, were you more motivated by money, time freedom, or location freedom? What was the initial driver, or was it I want to spend more time with Oakland?
I think it was financial freedom, definitely.
And there's nothing wrong with
Because,
that. Money's great.
oh, for sure. And, I was earning, I think it's like 75K or something as a part-time teacher. So like, I was barely covering our bills and putting food on the table. So to me, I used to say to Scott, like, if we just earned 10K, if I just saw 10K in our bank account, like it's like winning the lottery, like we'd be set for life. Like I literally had that belief. So when
Yeah.
I'm seeing people make that, people that I know, I'm like, okay, I need to be doing this.
And at that time, people that males selling to females, you thought, I'm going to dominate. I'm going to come in and be the best closer. Is that because you figured female to female, or was that you had an ego around, I'm the best salesperson at a previous company? Where did that belief come from?
It just came from female to female. And the fact that everyone had always told me you'd be so good at sales, you've got the gift of the gab. I'd done multi-level marketing, been very successful at that. So I'm like, this is a breeze.
By the way, I fucking hate gift of the gab. It doesn't exist. Some of the most successful salespeople are absolute introverts.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't need to know how to talk someone's ear off to be good at sales. Definitely not. But again, that's the stigma associated to sales. So I had heard that a lot from lots of different people. And then I think I talked myself up a lot. So AP was like, oh, we don't need to train this girl. She's just going to come in and just like blow us away. And I came in and did the exact opposite. So I literally, after the first 2 weeks, I got a very, how can I put this? Very stern voice note saying, like, if you don't get your shit turned around, basically, like, you're out.
AP is very stoic. Not much emotion in that voice. Just, I'm looking at the data, and this is what it's saying, and I'm not happy.
Yeah. But Jayme, you know what's crazy is, like, usually if I'd received a voice note like that, I'd be like, oh, stuff this. Like, I'm done. I'm not, this is not real. But there was
that's why
part
I
of
love
me.
sales, by the way, because you cannot hide. Like there's not like, oh, he's got it in for me, or this is a male-dominated world. This isn't fair. It's like, Brooke, you suck.
Yeah, look at the stats. We've paid to have this many number of calls in front of you, and you've closed 440. Well, I'd only made $440 for that entire month. So that message lit something in my belly. I've never sucked at a job. I've always been a top performer. And I pride myself on that. So I wasn't going to leave on those kinds of terms. I was like, no, I want to be the best at this. And so I made the decision.
So that voice note comes through. Your initial reaction will be like, fuck you. Like, this is unfair. I'm great. This isn't how it is. How long did it take you to like just look yourself dead in the mirror, then look at the stats, look back at the mirror and say like, hey, this is 100% my fault, my responsibility?
Almost immediately, Jayme, because I could see the opportunity and I could see people doing it. So I was like, if they can do it, people who I had previously worked with and I had outperformed in sales, then I can do this. And I made the decision to be the best, not just average, the best. And so I think there's a real difference between a B player and an A player. And in your head, sometimes you're like, oh, I could do that. But when in actual fact, transitioning from a B player to an A player requires an entire lifestyle change. I had to go to bed earlier. I had to be more disciplined with my morning routine. I had to work on my mindset. I had to change parts of my diet. There was so many changes that contributed to me being the best. And it wasn't just me going, oh, I can do that. And just learning how to do it.
Like, personal problems show up in business. The healthiest version of Jayme is an energetic, dangerous, driven, will not stop until it gets done type of guy.
Yes.
And if I have days where I sleep in, I don't go to the gym, I have shit food, I perform shit. It's as simple as that.
Exactly right. Who you are speaks louder than the words you say. It's one of my favorite quotes because it's true. how you feel about something and how you show up in your own life it bleeds through into how you show up in your sales conversations.
So you were previously outperforming these sales reps. You stopped selling. They continued to sharpen the skills because sales is a skill.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, you just didn't realize the level of work required to go from a B player to an A player. So you took responsibility. What
Mm-hmm.
happens next?
So, after I took responsibility and I started really looking at, me and what I needed to change and who I needed to learn from, I took a deep dive into the world of sales. I learned from some incredible mentors. I started to understand the sales process more and not just the script. I want to be very clear on this. It's not just learning the script that makes you good at sales. It's understanding the concepts. It's understanding the journey that you take a prospect through and getting really good at leading them and challenging them. So I started to implement some of these changes and work on reviewing my own calls. And before I know it, I had soared to the top of the leaderboards. And
I think as a
that's not
sales
just
rep,
close percentage; it was cash collection percentage as well.
I think why I came in like a house on fire is because not only did I understand the concepts, I actually understood the marketing funnel. I understood what was the first ad they saw, what they clicked on, what they received, what they got, the problem they were going through, the videos they watched previous to call. And that's where if there's a stigma that I want to get rid of. I despise the term, you are 100% an inbound closer. Because you have to learn about the business. You are a business owner. They are putting money into you to get a result, to get an ROI out. And for you to just rock up to a call a minute before it starts, not to be prepared, it's so unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
And if I have it my way, every salesperson must spend $1,000 on ads and work their own leads because you fucking take it personally.
That's what Alex Hormozy talks about this. He's like, you got to treat your leads as if they were you 10 years ago and you're talking to you. And it's about investing in something that you know is going to blow up. It's like if you had that kind of mentality on your calls, you're not letting them off the phone. You're not just like, oh, I can't afford it. Okay, bye, next person. Like you're literally like, you can't afford it? What do you mean? Like, let's make this work.
Yeah.
Let's collaborate. Let's talk about it.
What was the biggest misconception from when you almost got fired to when you topped the leaderboard? What was the biggest shift?
The biggest shift was I was treating them like my best friend. So like all these women wanted to have coffee with me after our calls, but I wasn't closing them because they could say no to me. So when I shifted away from being the best friend into being a leader, someone who they trusted, someone who they wanted to hear their recommendation, I got the biggest change.
So your thought before you started female to female, I can connect with females better than men, therefore I'm going to sell them. And you were a doormat and they just walked all over you.
Oh my goodness.
And then you, I guess, increased your frame, your status, your authority, and then you were the leader, not the friend.
The leader, not the friend. I still would connect with them as a friend, but I would talk to them and I would lead them as if I was a trusted advisor. That was the biggest that gave me immediate results.
Was it hard for you to change between leader and friend as you take them through the process? When like, hang on, like I need to take one step back. Like, let's talk about this.
100%, Jayme, because there was this, you want to be a challenger, right? You want to be a leader and a challenger when you're in a sales conversation. And I would recognize patterns and things that they were saying that I was like, oh, that's going to be a problem. It's going to come up later, but I wouldn't address it. I was being nice. I was kind of like, oh, like that's okay. We can, don't be so hard on yourself. Or like, they would be like, woe is me, it's their fault. I've done everything right. It's not my fault. And I would just let them talk like that and get away with having that victim mindset. So challenging that became something that I had to change my belief from having hard conversations is going to make them hate me to the empowering belief having hard conversations is going to make them respect me.
Do you dislike conflict, Brooke?
Oh, yeah.
That's a huge thing, right? Like you just have to be willing to, because if you really care about your friends, you tell them the truth.
Exactly.
Have to.
Yeah.
So you sold for years and years and years, 8 million in fitness. We obviously sold in the same account together. I learned tons from you. Since then, you've gone on to do some more sales management. Now, it's one thing to be a good closer and to take care of yourself. And I'm currently in this role myself as a sales manager. So let's get nerdy. What have you learned being a sales manager from starting months ago to today?
That sales management is all about managing people's emotions. That is literally it. We do sales training, of course, but being a remote closer, there are just so many highs and so many lows, and it's managing their emotions. That's really what I do. I sit down with them. We talk about their targets. We see if it's reasonable. And a lot of the time they're carrying resentment or like things that they have been holding in and they just want to get it out. So it's just managing that, keeping them stabilized so that they're not showing up on calls and actually burning leads. That is what management is.
Yeah. I listened to your call. I listened to your podcast, Sales Chat with Scott. I'm not sure what episode it was, but he said something really important. Like, show up to the call, like dressed, ready for work. Have a shower, shave, pretend you are working into an office and you are putting your hard hat on as opposed to just rocking up, hungover, tired, had a fight with your wife, you haven't addressed it, and you take that shit into the call.
Absolutely. You're like a battery, right? So like if you start the day on a half, like 50%, by the end of your last call, you've got nothing left to give. So like you're naturally going to show up more tired, more, just not your best self. Like Jayme, this is a really good example. And this is me being very transparent, and it's not something that I'm proud of, but yesterday I had my own sales calls. I had like 8 back to back. Now I haven't done sales calls in a while. So I was, I was a little bit rusty.
Talk about your battery. Like 0% towards the end.
Totally. And I was literally, I'd done like all morning of coaching and managing, and then I went straight into sales calls. And my very last lead was somebody that I'd known from a previous, like I just know, I'd worked with her in the gym space before. And I was finding myself just being so distracted. I wasn't listening properly. And she actually stopped me mid-call and was like, "Is this a bad time for you, Brooke?" And I just immediately knew what she meant. She was like, you just sound like a bit distracted, a bit tired. And I just, oh my goodness, my every single part of me was just like, how dare I show up like this? Like, it's disrespectful to her time. It's not holding myself to the highest possible standard. And I had to just apologize and sort of reset because I was exhausted. It's just, my battery was done. It was at 0%.
It really is important to manage people's emotions because I look at our calendar sometimes and it's red. And the next day they're green. Now, the question could be, is it the leads? Maybe 1 to 3 to 5%, or is it that you just had a good night's sleep? Is it that you had a healthy breakfast? Or is it that you closed that first call and your confidence went through the fucking roof?
Yeah. It's really, and you know what, Jayme, the more that I've learned about managing people's emotions, the more I've learned is if you continuously look for external validation, so if you're looking for those greens in your calendar, the moment that they're gone and you don't have that internal motivation or that, the person that's clapping for yourself is you're going to be constantly battling like your mindset. And that's the biggest needle mover, in my opinion, to have a 50% conversion rate as opposed to 35 or 40.
Let's talk about mindset for a second, because I go back and forth about this in regards to just like, fuck your feelings, get on with it. But we're human beings and we have really strong feelings, and of course it's reasonable that we take our feelings into our workplace. So if you notice that someone on your team that you're managing is going through a challenging time or they have got shit at home, how do you have that discussion with them? Like, hey, let's leave it there.
So I always just like to open up the floor by asking them, are they okay? Like, what's going on? And then I acknowledge that it's okay to feel that way. So I'm like, it's totally reasonable that you're feeling this way. Would it be fair to say that, maybe you're bringing some of this uncertainty into your calls? And the moment that you ask them that, they're like, absolutely, 100%. And it's just about getting them to see. And then I say, it's okay to like sit in that emotion, feel it. And then I get them to do a walk or like move some of that energy out of their body, because like stagnant energy can definitely show up in your calls. So it's just like moving their body, just going for a walk, like clearing their head, coming back and just focusing on showing up for this person. And it's all got to do with their own values and how high of a standard that they hold themselves to. So
it's the biggest thing for me, Brooke. If I'm in a slump, time to get physical. Go for a walk, go to the gym, get sweaty, and you are completely present.
100%. 100%.
What I've struggled with doing sales management is it love languages? Would you call it love languages? Some people are motivated by that huge high five in Boom City. Some people are motivated by money. Some people want to win the week in stats. Some people just want to clock in, clock out, make good money, and then go back to being a mum. And it's just really you have the same way your sales reps have to care about their prospects, you have to genuinely care about your sales reps' lives. You have to
You have to
genuinely know
know. Yeah, you
100%.
have to know your sales reps 100%. I think like love languages comes into play, but it's more about your personality. Like some people are, determined go-getters who like literally just want to be the top because their status and ego is important to them. That's totally fine. Then you've got people who are blues, who are more sensitive, who don't get around the whole like, fuck yeah, like let's go. Like that actually can really repulse them and turn them away. But they would prefer just like a voice note being like, you did an amazing job today. I really liked how you connected with blah, blah, and blah, blah. Or like they would like to see a review of someone saying like, I loved chatting to this person. Like they made me feel really safe and comfortable. So it's just understanding what motivates your reps and then being that for them. So giving them like motivating in that kind of way.
How do you create a sales team culture in an online workplace?
This one is so important. I think you can get caught up in just constantly pointing out the wrong, like, guys, we haven't hit our stats. Guys, we haven't done this. Guys, we're not a training ground. We can't keep operating in this way. Like, you need to be better. You need to do more training. We can fall into the trap of just always pointing out the negative. And so that when there is a win, when someone does overcome, a bit of an objection handling sequence, it's so important, more important than anything else, to celebrate the small wins.
100%. It is someone not hitting their stats. It is someone improving from the week before.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What I have noticed is one rotten egg can destroy a team.
Yeah.
And for me, it is being able to treat all of our sales reps like the exact same way, talk to them the same way, hold them to the exact same standards, and pulling people up on poor behavior really early. And if you ever celebrate someone's poor behavior, if you ever celebrate a stat that they may have lied about or manipulated or wasn't truthful, the other sales reps know it. And then the trust with you is gone, trust with the team is gone. Then all of a sudden they're calling people from each other's calendars.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right.
So you have a rotten egg, in my opinion. I'd love your opinion.
Yeah.
They're gone. They got to go.
Yeah. Yep.
They got to go.
Something that AP always used to say is he would rather take someone who's inexperienced with a really good attitude than someone who has all this experience with ego.
Well, we'll talk about that in a second with some of the girls that we brought on from She Sells, but like, those people on my team, and they're all just fucking great people. They're all good, genuine human beings, and our number one company value is the gym owners must win. Right. Yeah. And occasionally, of course, our sales team don't close people because that's sales and that's what it is. And they still pass the lead over to the client. Hey, this person wasn't ready to come in, but they'd really love a 7-day free trial. They were driving. It was a bad time. Can you please reach out? And we celebrate that as much as an actual sale, even though our company makes no money. Because if the gym owner does get onto that person, they do sign them up, the gym owner spends more money on ads, we get more leads, more bookings, more sales. The gym owner must fucking win. And if you have that person on your team that doesn't respect that culture, who's only in it for themselves, they got to go.
Cut the rope. Bye-bye.
So sales management into She Sells. How long has She Sells been going for now?
So I officially did my very first post, and this is off the back of something that you said to me, Jayme. You were like, you just need to do it. You were like, I was relentless. I was posting 3 times a day, and I just stuck at it for a whole year straight. And I was like, damn, that discipline and that commitment to the cause, like I don't have that. So I recorded my very first post, and that was November last year. And so that's when things really, like, I wouldn't say we launched in November, but the ball was rolling. The ball was rolling.
I've always been your biggest hype man.
Yeah.
Because I know how good you are.
Yeah.
Right. And I remember there's people in this space that just have no experience, can't sell a damn thing, sharing their opinions. And it makes me so annoyed because people view them as experts. I'm like, you haven't met fucking Brooke. You don't know, but you don't know AP exists. Like, why the fuck's this guy looking like? It makes me so, I get so annoyed by people in this industry just talking fucking shit. Like, it drives me insane because especially for gym owners and personal trainers and people that are aspirational, they get taken advantage of because they want to believe in people. They like the idea of coaching and they bark up the wrong tree, they get burned, and then all of a sudden you're dealing with that shit on the call by the time they reach you.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of I just love, I love reading some of the sales gurus out there. I love reading their posts and the arguments they get into with each other. I stay well clear of that, but I do have a little chuckle to myself because I'm like, people care so much about, their opinion and this is the right way. And I'm like, whoever you resonate with, whatever your learning style is, like you could have two people that teach the exact same thing. You're going to resonate more with one person than the other. Doesn't mean that they're wrong. Just means that they relate to you more as a person and they like the way that you teach it. Could be the exact same thing.
One of my favorite sayings is, imagine you achieve everything you ever wanted to and you're miserable. And a shortcut to do that is to buy a coach, buy a mentor, invest into someone else that has a life that you don't aspire to. If you don't want to live in Bali, if you don't want to be a great mum, if you don't want to be a nice person, if you don't want to do the right thing by people, if you don't want to sacrifice success at all costs, don't invest into she cells.
Exactly. It's your choice. That's exactly
100%.
right.
So, Brooke, you got to post. Brooke, you got to fucking post. Brooke, you got to fucking post. Jayme, I'm gonna. What was the thing that held you back? What was it? Like what was the thing?
Fear of judgment.
From who?
Anyone. Sally down the road with her dog. I don't know. Anyone would see me and be like, oh, here she goes again. She's on one of her little, I don't know why I let that get to me so much. But seriously, Jayme, I've got messages from you where you were like, Brooke, I've just got a video editor. Send me something, anything, one thing, and I'm going to edit it for you. And that's going to go up. You sent me literally a message every single day and I just didn't do it. And it was because I was so worried about what other people would think of me. And it stopped me from putting myself out there and taking a risk. And I think how many other women would be in that same position where they're like, oh my goodness, if I stop my job, what would people think of me?
Well, it's interesting because after I told you to that, I looked in the mirror and I wasn't posting on my personal profile, Jayme.d.Richardson. And the reason being is I was a very different person 10 years ago. I used to love a party. Anthea and Caitlin will find out in Perth. And some of the people that follow me on Instagram, I went to school with, I played AFL with, I've been in the change rooms, I've been on footy trips. Like, who the fuck is this guy? This isn't who I remember. And I myself was like, well, they're probably going to judge me, but I just don't fucking care anymore. Like, I just don't care.
Yeah. So my experience is a little different. I, back in the day, I did multi-level marketing and I lost a lot of friends from doing it. And I know why. It's just, I went about it in a really icky way. I didn't like how I was selling it. I had no idea about sales. I was just talking to anybody who wanted to listen. I was like talking. That came out of nowhere. 1 minute I'm also loved to party, loved to drink. And then all of a sudden I'm this health guru. It was just really incongruent. And people were like, who are you? This is really fake. And so I had that fear as well. Like, what are people going to think of me? They're going to be like, you're a teacher. You're in sales now. Like, what do you know? And I let that stop me from sharing my story, my light, my voice. I let it dim that too much. And I cared too much about what people thought of me. And now I don't give. Do you remember when I sent you a screenshot of what someone had written in my ads and you're like, Brooke, who fucking cares? And I'm like,
my favorite negative comment ever was like, I was making a video about some shit and he's like, you're gay.
Oh my God.
The other one was like, mate, you've got bingo wings, dude. It's like, I've been doing tricep extensions for 16 years now. Like, but this is the fucking truth with with some cheese on it. If it hurts your feelings, there's typically an ounce of truth in it. And you are being an imposter. You are talking out of your arsehole. Yeah. And I catch myself doing it all the time. I only talk about things I'm confident talking about. I'm confident to talk fitness sales with you because I've sold fitness, but I am not going to tell you about parenting. It's against everything I stand for in regards to this industry, this space of people just being fucking fake.
Yeah, I agree. I get some laughs out of the things that you post sometimes, Jayme. It's just the gay one was just it sent me. I was like, this is why would you write that? But also
no one lasts more than Ellen. I really just and like the thing is like going like you mentioned Hermosi before, obviously someone I really admire, look up to. I think he's right. I think if you fear judgment, it's typically from one or two people. And then if
Mm.
you can name that person, you think, that's the person? I'm worried about Sally at the bakery.
Oh no, isn't
It's
it
so
funny?
stupid.
It's so stupid. You know, I spent time on these haters. Like I would send them screenshots of my bank account and I was like, what
Did you
makes
really?
yeah, literally, stupidly. And then someone pointed out to me like, why are you putting time and energy into that when you've got 50, 60, 70 girls in your community that need your energy more than that? I was
Yeah.
prioritizing my energy and my time in the wrong directions.
So heaps of people in our space steal my shit, as in
Mm,
like with like full clones of ads, and they can use them. But then at the same time, they turn around and bag those style of text banner ads that we're really known for. That grinds my gears. But I want to share a story with everyone. This happened to us both recently. So about 6 months ago, someone copied our done for you everything idea. Now, there's nothing wrong with copying the idea. You can't copy an idea. You can't copy an offer, because I got it from Alex Amosi and I'm sure he got it from someone else. But
mhm,
what you shouldn't do is the copy and paste job. The same ad, the same lead form, the same
mm,
calendar page, the same thank you page, the same thank you video, everything.
mm,
And how I found out was I took over a client that this person was working with previously, and I discovered it was exactly the same. And my fucking blood was boiling. I was ropeable. I was fuming. I told everyone. And then over time, I thought to myself, I'm going to run into this person one day at a fitness convention if I can ever be fucked going. And imagine when he comes face to face to me, like, we know what happened, and
mm,
he is going to fucking run the other way. And that's actually enough for me.
mhm.
Like, you know, you
You know,
fucking know.
yeah, I love that, Jayme. That is a really good way to look at it because when I found, um, it was actually one of my girls in the community. She sent me a screenshot and she goes, that's your logo. And
I had a great laugh. I thought it was hilarious.
after my like, you know, tears and irrational thoughts about going around and egging her car and like doing all these stupid things, I was
You are from Perth. Got to egg a car.
like, leave the dog shit at her doorstep. Like uh, after I had all those thoughts, I just thought, you know what, whatever. She's not me. She's not me. So she can copy. She can copy everything, my brand, my photo shoot, everything about me, but she's not me. So that's something that she will never be.
We
And yeah,
started working with a Vision personal training recently. It was one in Sydney, and the same thing happened again. I jumped in the ad account, looked at it, and they were running ads that were our ads from a previous agency. So, like when we run ads in an account, it's FBC dot name of the campaign. So this
mm-hmm,
previous agency was agency name dot name of the campaign, and it
mm-hmm.
was exactly the same. And here's the fucked up thing: the images they were using were our successful images 12 months ago. So they're not even copying the right thing because they don't know why it works. And since then, Mitch, who does all of our marketing, has come up with hundreds of more ads. So if they are copying, they really are always going to be behind. And I cannot tell you how angry I was at the time.
Mm.
And then I just kind of like, now I just laugh about it. I truly like, I think it's funny.
I still have this like one little part of me that would love to, because the thing that I have an issue with is she's used a platform that I don't have yet. You know, I don't have 183,000 followers. So she's got access to far more people than I do. And I feel like she's using her platform in a really negative way. She's like, look at this amazing thing that I've created. It's the first of its kind, all this kind of language. And I would love to just call her out on TikTok because she's quite big on TikTok and just be like, hey guys, like I'm just a small business at the moment in Australia. And like, you know, I'd love to just, I don't know if you've seen those TikToks where they call out creators who literally it's just a direct ripoff. But then I'm like, do I want to, you know, go down to that level? Because I do believe that I will rise above all of that shit and I will be the one that has a, you know, greater company in time. So there's
At
that
the end of
battle
it,
as well.
the coaching industry is so small, and all the good people know the good people.
Yeah.
Like we just know them, right? You end up building relationships with them, and word spreads fast.
Mm.
And I was royally fucked over 3 years ago, like really badly.
Mm.
And every single person I've encountered that has also had an interaction with this person was also royally fucked over.
Wow.
And there's only so many people that you can fuck over until
Mm.
it just spreads like wildfire. So you just have to just let it play out. And I think time is your friend. And at the end of the day, if over a long enough time period, keep doing what you're going to do, she-cells will come in on top.
Which she-cells?
Your one. She-cells with Brooke. She-cells with Brooke. Okay, cool. So what I want to talk about now is she-cells has started. It's a school community. It's an online launch pad for people to leave their 9 to 5 to get into remote sales.
Yeah.
I'd love to know how that is going in regards to what happens when a girl joins, what is the expectation, and some of the success stories that you've had.
Okay. So once they come into the community, they're welcomed by like all of the girls. I have accountability buddies as well. And because I recognize that starting something new that you're unaware of, so a lot of people are coming into this not even knowing what sales is, can be super overwhelming. So a lot of girls were coming in and they were just like, oh, I don't know where to go. I don't know what to do. I don't know who to talk to. Like, nah, leave. So we've recognized that that's a scary transition and it can be quite overwhelming. So they come in, they're asked to introduce themselves to the group, and they are assigned an accountability buddy, which is one of my girls who have been with me from the very beginning. So
just like a gym, Brooke, the accountability buddy.
Yeah. And, the girls are so amazing. They're like, hey, you jumping into the live session tonight? Like Brooke's going to be talking about like XYZ. It just keeps them accountable to actually showing up. Because if you don't show up, you're not going to learn and you're not going to, this dream just becomes a dream and that's where it will stay. So once they're in and they come to the live sessions and they go through the launchpad. Now the launchpad has different modules and assignments that I really encourage the girls to do because it's applying the practical application of the skill. So it just is a beautiful transition. This is where my teaching really flares up. And then they have to pass the last assignment so it gets graded. You need to pass it in order to be eligible to do our accelerator program, which is an advanced course, and that actually gives you a recruiter. So someone who goes out and looks for a job that is, lined up to your ideal criteria. Now, the end of the accelerator program, there is an assignment that asks you to break down one of your calls. And what I'm looking for here is an in-depth understanding of the concepts, why you asked your prospect these certain questions, why were you leading them down this path? And that's going to tell me that they're ready because they understand the concepts on a much deeper level. So, yeah.
And I want to just draw the analogy to fitness there. So people join a gym, they pay money, they think I lose weight, I look great. What they forget about is showing up to sessions for 6 months. And I'm sure you've experienced the same thing. People would associate purchasing she-cells with I'm going to be a remote closer. I'm going to be the next Brooke Tripler, which we both know isn't true. How do you adjust that expectation to say, hey, like it's taken me years?
Yeah. Well, I like to explain like learning a language or learning a new instrument. Like you go through those 4 different learning stages, right? You might wing it at the start, get a few quick wins under your belt. Remember at the 4, where we used to work, it would be people that started would have an exceptional first couple of weeks and then they would dip massively and then they would start to rise again when you become into that unconsciously competent learning stage. So I always remind my girls they're focusing on the wrong thing. They're like, I want the money now. When can I start making money? It's like, well, go and get a job. But what will happen is you'll get a job and not make money still. The skill set is what needs to come first. Once you've got that skill set, amazing. The money will come as a byproduct of that, but not before. So it's just allocating an appropriate amount of time to learn the skill set. And I put all the onus on them. I can give you everything. I can literally hand you a job, but at the end of the day, I can't make you close. I can't make the horse drink the water. That's up to you.
You got to pick up the phone and dial, or you have to have that ability to have a conversation, help them make a good decision and make that purchase. So I'd love to hear about your biggest success story, and then I'd love to hear about someone who has struggled and really the I guess the differences in their mindset, their approach when they join she-cells.
So this is a really, really, really great example of people who understand that you have to embrace the suck for a period of time before you get to enjoy the fruits of your labor. Okay. So some of my girls have come in, they've been placed too early. They completely bomb out. They think they're doing a good job. They're not making any money. And that's been enough to turn them off the industry altogether. That's a real shame. And that's on me. I actually take full ownership and responsibility of that. I placed my girls before they were ready. Now, some of my biggest success stories are the women who have been willing to embrace the suck. They've been willing to accept a couple of months where they are going through a transition. They're still sharpening their skill set. They're working on their mindset. There's lots of things that are happening. So I've placed a nurse in a fitness role, and she's still there and she's killing it. She's top of the leaderboard. And actually, she has been interviewed by a very good friend of mine who now is sort of high up in Sales Sniper, and she was very, very, very impressed with her skill set. So that was good to hear. I also have another beautiful woman who's gone out and just applied for a remote closing job off her own back after doing my coaching, and she did 3 weeks of being the top setter. Like
That's
literally,
so good.
Screenshots of being like, oh my goodness, how is she getting these numbers? And then after 3 weeks, she was invited to join the closing team. So she's now working as a closer. I've placed 2 girls with you who are really loving that. And
do they say good things about me?
Nah, they do.
No, it's good. No,
They
seriously, Anthea and Caitlin have been absolutely amazing. And if you listen to this, we love you both. Anthea, I fucking love Anthea's attitude.
Yeah.
I've never met a person with a better attitude. She's 22 years old. When I was 22 years, I did not have that level of maturity. I was an absolute pork chop. And she's just giving it her fucking all. And from one business owner to another, there's nothing I appreciate more than someone with a good attitude, trying their absolute best, putting in their hard work, because I know they're going to get better. It is inevitable. It is impossible to suck if you work hard.
That's exactly.
And for anyone listening, like if you are entering a new role, just put your best foot forward, rock up early, finish late, and just do the right thing.
Yeah. Yeah, that's amazing. That's very, very good advice. She has been with me from the very beginning, and she's never shied away from being vulnerable with the group. She's cried in front of us. She's been super open about her struggles, and there is no way that girl will not be successful. There is just no way. She might have to embrace the suck for a little bit longer than other people, but if she's willing to do that and push through this contraction, she will experience the expansion and be like, this is what it is.
Yeah. And people might be laughing at, no one's laughing at her now, but in her own mind, she might think she's not doing well. But you persist for a few years and you can be closing deals in Bali.
Exactly right.
And there's the ultimate, now who's laughing?
Yeah, I sucked too. I sucked a lot. But yeah, if you've got that discipline, that work ethic, and the commitment to bettering yourself, you're right. You won't suck forever.
So they are your successful people. We have gyms that we're not successful with, of course. I do my absolute best with everyone. And I also take responsibility because I haven't set expectations correctly at the start. Probably one of the biggest lessons I imagine you've learned is setting the expectation from day one that you're not going to be an overnight success. I'd love to hear a story about someone that came into your program or patterns that you've recognized of women that are unsuccessful going through She Sells.
It's the people that come in and think it's a get rich quick scheme. It's like, they come in and they're like, right, where's the jobs? And I'm like, ooh, who are you? I haven't even jumped on a role play session with you. I don't know who you are. You've not come to any of the sessions. It's those people that are unsuccessful. They don't have the characteristics of a She Sells closer. And in my opinion, they just want everything given to them. They're not willing to do the work. They're not willing to embrace the suck. They're not willing to put in the hard yards, to cut the rope to their job. They just want everything given to them. So it's those people that have been unsuccessful. But I actually would love to share a story about one of my unsuccessful moments, because it was because of that, and because I put too many girls into a role that they weren't ready for, that actually I lost quite a few very, very high potential successful closers.
And what was that? What happened?
I took on a coaching offer where I was managing a team. She wanted me to bring in some setters and some closers, and we did this.
Is that person you had to have a hard talk to?
Yes, it is.
Steer into the snowbrook. Learn to embrace conflict.
That was I'm very grateful for the lesson that taught me. So I put in my best girls. We did a big trial of setters and closers. And we ended up settling on 2 setters and 2 closers. And I didn't clearly explain to the girls that not all of them would be, getting this job. And then it just turned into something that it just didn't work out. And unfortunately, I've lost except one. I've lost every single girl that was in that experience with me, and I think it's because they really did give it everything they had, and it wasn't the best ending to things. So it kind of just put a bad taste in their mouth about the whole industry in general, and that's on me. I take full ownership of that. I'm grateful for the lesson, but it's shown me that it's more detrimental to me and my business to take on things that I should really say no to, and even more detrimental to my girls to place them before they're ready, which is why we brought in the grading of the assignments. Yeah.
I guess if you place someone that you are representing she sells, and if they suck, it falls back on you.
Yeah, exactly. So it's sometimes you have to be like, I'm not doing this to upset you. I'm doing this to protect you. Because if I place you before you're ready, not only is it going to make you think of remote sales in a different capacity, but you're not going to receive the earning potential that you're capable of yet.
I had a similar experience, actually. I was referred a closer from Jayme, and this guy came in. He had great testimonials, great reviews. He closed really high ticket. I put him straight into a closing role, skipped over our training protocols. He stunk the joint out. Went like 0 from 9 or something terrible. And then he sent me a Facebook voice message cancelling, like quitting. And that was the biggest lesson I think I've ever learned. Is like, I don't care how good you are, you need to follow the process before you jump on that first call.
Yeah. That is such, you're so right. You have to, see, that's the thing. Training never stops. And that's what an expectation that I set with all my girls as well is. This isn't just a 3-month thing. You come in, you learn, you're done. You're committing to training and upskilling yourself forever, in my opinion.
100%.
If the day that you stop learning is the day that you die. Like, I don't know why you would ever stop trying to improve your skill set, your own, like, continue to grow your mind. Like, it just, it
Do you
baffles
want to hear
me.
something crazy, Brooke? The more calls I review, the higher our close percentage gets. Who would have fucking figured that out? Of course it's going to get better. And then since reviewing more calls, I've really scripted out every single objection. And now our close percentage has gone up. It's just, you have to keep training. You have to keep developing. No one's got it all figured out. And the second that you do, those pesky sale reps get a bit lazy. Start skipping over things.
Exactly. I'm actually doing one-on-one training with all the guys at the Empowered Mat at the moment daily. We do hour training sessions every single day. Daily. Yeah.
Far out.
And it's not because they don't know, it's because we drill and practice certain things. I'm able to identify lowest hanging fruits, and then we role play, we review calls together. And guess what? Since doing that, everyone's cash collection percentage has gone up. Everyone close percentage has gone up. Like, you never are too good to learn. And if you ever get to that point, no.
Yeah. Well, speaking of Caitlin, if you listen, love you. You're the best. I reviewed one of her calls. It was to the end of it. And this lady was the most, like, so much languages around, I'm buying this, I'm so excited, let's get started. And all she had to do was close the damn deal. And she said, so how would you like to proceed from here? I'm like, Caitlin, follow the script. Fix that right on the spot. And now she's one of our best closers. And like, if I didn't review that call, because that's not a bad question to ask, that's an appropriate question at certain times on certain offers, but it was just this call, this lady, it was the wrong thing to say.
Yes.
Another thing too about sales managers, I could blame Caitlin all day long for not closing, but like, I didn't listen to a call. like people aren't evil. People don't do the wrong thing on purpose. People just need to be told and told and told until it is drilled into them that this is the way it works.
Mm. And look, that's probably on me in my training, is because, on bigger ticket offers, you do want to get them that, I'm not a fan of the assumptive close on bigger ticket offers. I really, I'm not. I genuinely want to say, like, where do you want to go from here?
It's
but
so
your offer,
it's so interesting.
You have to be more like assumptive, because it is a lower ticket. You need to be like, well, yeah, we're closing the door now. Like, it's not something you go away and think about.
It's almost like everything I've ever learned about sales, the frameworks still apply, the scripts still apply, but at the end of the call, it is so different, as opposed to having that, like, where would you like to proceed from here? Because it's not a $5,000 purchase; it's a purchase for $300.
Exactly.
28 days at the local gym. Like, it is. my whole job is to this isn't even a decision.
No,
They've
no.
joined 10 gyms. This is the 11th one. Just fucking help them get started.
Exactly. Yeah, no, I agree. And so actually on that, Caitlin and Anthea have struggled a little bit because they're like, oh, this is the way that Brooke says to do it, and this is the way that Jayme says to do it. They're very similar, but what they're not actually understanding is that the offers are different. I'm teaching more of a generic, I have to. I can't just teach fitness sales. I have to teach a generic sales, so they're bringing that understanding into this offer where they need to be able to be malleable in that way. Understand the concept. The concept still remains the same, but the scripting is different, and it's different for a reason. So once they understand that, they can start to apply it.
I'm so proud of my entire team because it is not as easy as people think. Because one call, it's 22-year-old male to join jiu-jitsu. The next call is it's a 51-year-old lady to join a CrossFit gym. The next call is the Pilates gym. The next call is another form of combat sports. And when Curtis came on recently, he's like, have they been vetted on price? Have they watched a video? I'm like, mate, they just want to join the gym. just get them in there.
Oh, Jayme, I don't think your offer would be easy at all.
I would love to get you on just give me 4 hours of your time, Brooke, one day, just so you can experience it. It's absolute chaos.
I actually feel like I would do really well. And I'll tell you why.
RBT.
Well, yeah, RBT, but also when I first started at Sales Sniper with Matt Ryder, it was me, Matt, and Scott, and we were selling 28-day challenges to different gyms. So I've had experiences of having to.
You were in Fitness Sales Sniper?
Yeah.
You never told me that, ever. This is scandalous. How dare you hold that information back?
Yeah, I was on a dialer. I was ringing gyms and selling 28-day challenges, and then I had to change up the gym, and there was so many times where I'd be like, "Hi, it's Brooke calling from F45," and they'd be like, F45, and I'd be like, "Oh no, sorry, Gorilla Fitness."
Yeah.
It was just it was hard. If you weren't prepared, sometimes you'd be doing these calls on the go, and if you weren't prepared, you could really.
We have got it so dialed. We have this massive spreadsheet of current gym offers.
I've seen it.
You've seen it. Yeah, we figured it out. We cracked the code. Yeah. I'd love you to introduce me to Matt because I want to get him on the podcast because as far as I know, I've never met anyone to try to attempt this in Australia before outside of us at this scale. And it's very rewarding. I love doing it, but it is not easy. It is not running ads. It is effectively running 100 gyms at once. Yeah.
So I was with Matt when he very, very Matt, James, me, Scott, Marco, we were in the trenches, ringing gyms. I caught up with
James the other night, Sackle, and he didn't bring you up. So he mustn't remember you, Brooke. He must have been a low performer.
Well, I can pull up my call logs because I recall James ringing me multiple times offering me jobs after I left.
Ooh, very good, very good. So you come a long way from teacher to closer to She Sells. I don't want anyone to think it's been an easy journey at all because you'll say it's the exact opposite of that. What does She Sells hold in the next 3 to 5 to 10 years? And what is your big, scary, audacious goal?
So I want to create an army, and army is not the right word. It's more of a movement. Movement's more feminine. It's a movement of women who are top performers in the space. So I would have an expectation, and I hold my girls to the highest possible standard. If you get placed, you will be the top performer on account. So I'd love to place 1,000 women by the end of 2026, let's say, into roles. I'm going to
write that down, Brooke, and hold you to it.
Yeah, 1,000 women by the end of 2026 in homes, not just roles. I want it to be a home for them. I want them to develop and grow and be given capacity to do that. But I watch out the remote sales world because the amount of business owners that I've spoken to who are like, we want women closers, please, we want women, is been huge. So as long as I continue to show up and coach them and train them and work on everything, I want well-rounded closers. I don't just want skill set closers. I want skill set closers who understand how to look after themselves and work on their mindset and be okay with be okay with rejection. Because it's not rejection. It's not a rejection of you. So yeah, that would be the goal for She Sells in the next. I don't know.
And if you achieve that goal, what does that do for you personally and your brand and who you are?
I love that question. That is a very, very powerful question. It gives me fulfillment.
What does that mean to you?
It means I'm in alignment with what I want to do with my life in this world.
And what is that?
It's to help women. It's to show them a different way. I'm so passionate about shining a light on what's possible,
Yeah.
because
There's
women are
not,
hard
yeah.
workers, and
There's,
they're not just plus ones in their relationship. They want to have financial freedom. They want that independence. They want to work on themselves. So
yeah.
if I can shine a light on that and show them what's possible, and that's me, they can too.
Our origin story isn't too different. I fucking hated my job.
Mm,
From 2009 to 2012, I've never been more miserable in my life. I'm not going to use the D word, but I was drinking way too much to mask that pain I was in.
mm,
And I can see it in other people. Got to go to work tomorrow. And
mm,
the idea of me still being in that role 12 years later truly makes me sick to my stomach. I've got friends that are still doing that role, and it makes me sick to my stomach. So I think once you've been down that journey of like you hated your job, you escaped the job, you've made it to the other side, you've escaped the matrix, you can see the green code. Like you don't have to live life that way. I'm with
mm,
you. I want to share it with other people. Like you don't
yeah.
have to work for the man or get a job or fucking hate what you do.
Mm,
Oh, that is just like that is hell on earth. To like hate what you do. For me personally, I would come home and I'd be a piece of shit husband and a piece of shit father if I wasn't happy with who I was on the inside.
100%. 100%. And something that I've recognized lately is people get triggered, right? They get really triggered about saying, particularly around, I've noticed this, around, talking about nursing working conditions and teachers' working conditions. People get really triggered by that. And so my message has become, if you want to work a 9 to 5, that's totally okay. Like that's hard. If you want to leave the 9 to 5 in the rat race, that's also hard, but you get to choose what that hard looks like. You don't get to put others down because they're doing something that deep down you want to do and you're just not saying it. Just own your own decisions. If you want to work as a teacher and you love that, good on you. If you want to leave teaching because you want more out of your life, that's your choice. And you shouldn't be made to feel any less than because you're doing that and you're chasing a dream.
100%. Brooke, what's one question I should have asked you that I didn't ask you?
Mm, one question you should have asked me and you didn't. I feel like you asked them all.
What is one thing you wished that more females realized what sales truly was?
One thing I wish females realize is their own potential. I like the amount of women I speak to that don't have belief in themselves. It actually breaks my heart. I'm like, how? Like I spoke to a beautiful woman last night. She was in the car, and it was her husband that actually put her in touch with. He listened to my podcast on the Unemployables and was like, you need to speak to this girl. Her own brother was on the podcast, on the panel, and she sat in the car and she's like, I just don't know if I can do it. And I'm like, how do you have that belief? Your husband believes in you, your brother believes in you, but you don't believe in you. It breaks me. I'm like, I don't know where this these women who don't have any belief in themselves has come from.
Yeah.
Just a real lack of confidence and self-belief.
Yeah. I think it's a good, like, if you write down all your character flaws, I speak really quickly, I have a stutter, yet I was one of the best fitness closers in Australia. So if I can do it, you can fucking do it. Like, you
Yeah.
really fucking can.
Yeah.
And for me, it was the most eye-opening thing in the world. That first Saturday I worked for that company that we work for, seeing the calendars, seeing the money, but what the fuck is this? I want to be a part of this. And
Yeah.
I too thought it was a scam just like you, until you realize that, like, yes, there is a lot of bullshit online, but there are some people out there that are making real money doing this.
Yeah, it's wild. It really is. I remember you used to say to me, Brooke, I feel like ashamed to say how much I'm earning here. Like that's a
I
real
did.
thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the second month I earned 28K, and I thought, I didn't believe it until the money dropped in my account.
I
Like,
know.
I think these guys are nice. Like, I hope it's there tomorrow.
I still say I felt like I would win the lotto every single time that I would get my pay and I would see 20 whatever thousand amount of dollars in my bank account. I was like, oh my God, like we've won the lotto because I didn't feel like I was working. I was having conversations with women. I was empowering them to say yes to themselves. I was helping them put on their own oxygen mask, my favorite analogy of all time. Like,
Yeah. I saw it
how
in
am I getting paid this for this?
Our first location was in Kurri Kurri, a coal mining town. All the men there, they're the real MVPs. They're driving 2 hours to the mine, 12 hours underground, 2 hours home. They make this economy go round. And then I come in, oh, you want to help with your fitness?
Yeah, I know.
And
I know.
you do have that feeling of like, this isn't even fair.
It's a different type of hard though, right?
Yeah, but if you develop the skill set, people will pay you for it. Well, Brooke, thank you so much for coming on as always. 3rd episode. This might be like a 10 or 15 or 20 part series. So 1,000 placements by the end of 2026, and you are going to be one fulfilled human being. That's the goal.
That's the goal. That's the
awesome,
goal.
Brooke. Thanks so much.
Thanks. Bye.
That was so good.